Well, that was a stupid intro. If you laughed at that, I don't know what to tell you. You have no sense of humor. The point of all this is to say that I dropped a big reading challenge on my head this year, but it's okay. I'm gonna cheat, and if I don't sleep or go outside, I should just make it. See, I want to read 200 books this year. Not only that, I've got another more difficult reading challenge inside of that reading challenge. I will also tell you how exactly I'm going to cheat later on if you stick around. But I will say this before I get into the reading challenge itself. I killed it in 2022. I accomplished so many things that I set out to do. At the beginning of the year, I had this vision of what I wanted last year to be about, what I wanted to do, and basically every single day I pulled myself closer to that vision with my actions and everything that I was doing, all the work that I put in. I put in 14-hour days. I did it. I hit 50,000 Instagram followers, which is cool, meaningless, but it's still good. I bought a Porsche, which I absolutely love. I'm going to upgrade my car this year. That's one of my goals for 2023. And, basically how I set myself up for all of these wins, all of these successes, is by reading. Reading absolutely gave me the life that I have now. And so I'm just constantly, my whole career is based on just pushing, the best books into people's hands, as many people's hands as I possibly can. And so that's sort of what the reading challenge is about. That's what my Instagram is about. That's what this YouTube channel is about, right? Reading challenges, my whole life is a reading challenge. So this is what I'm going to do for the next 12 weeks. Basically, I'm going to take one, difficult, long, challenging, important book each week, and I'm going to finish it, hopefully in that week or around that week. This is all of them right here. This huge stack right here. And so the first week of January, I'm starting with the 1,200-page Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas, because I hate myself, basically. I'm on page 85. It's already January 2nd. So ideally, according to the dictates of this reading challenge, I have to finish it by January 7th. Whether that's going to happen or not, with my YouTube upload schedule, who knows? All right, so that is number one. This is a lot easier. Book number 2 is way down at the bottom of the pile. I'm just going to put it down. I really didn't think that one through when I was gathering these books for the video. But okay, so Count of Monte Cristo, that's book number 1. Book number 2 is Ray Dalio's Principles for Dealing with the Changing World Order. I loved his first book, Principles. He used to run Bridgewater Associates, which is this billion-dollar hedge fund, or multi-billion-dollar hedge fund. Really smart dude. He realizes that the limits of his own knowledge. So he has assembled basically this gigantic team of experts and historians and researchers and everything, and there are charts and graphs. So he's just what the future's going to be, the major players in the world, who they might be later, how that's going to change, everything. So I'm looking forward to it. This is book number 2. Number 3, we've got a fiction book, Foucault's Pendulum by Umberto Eco. Eco is one of my role models too, especially yes, for writing and reading. I think he had a library of 80,000 books or something stupid like that. As opposed to me, I've only got 60,000. But he was also known for using every minute of his time. If he had 10 minutes between appointments, he was using that for either reading or taking ideas down for an article that he was writing or something, right? He was using every minute. I love Eco for that, so I'm looking forward to this. He also wrote The Name of the Rose too, which is a really good book. So that's week number 3. Week number 4 is Tolstoy, War and Peace. You know what this is about. Napoleon, Russia, Tolstoy, the comedian Woody Allen's got a really funny line about War and Peace. He said that he took a speed reading course one time, and he finished War and Peace in 20 minutes, and he said it was about Russia. Week number 5 is The Phenomenology of Spirit by George Hegel, again, because I hate myself. And so it's 600 pages, 500 pages. It's basically one of the most dense philosophical treatises, books ever written. It's this huge sort of world-encompassing philosophy that is just damn near impenetrable. Yeah, I'm going to finish it in a week, so we'll see how that goes. But I do have some background in Hegel too, so it's not going to be completely new. I'm going to have, concepts other ideas to sort of attach them to and sort of help me along. And I'm also going to be studying these books alongside it too. I'm going to be reading commentaries on them, reviews, stuff like that, to sort of get some context for them. I'm not just going to try and understand Hegel by myself, just sitting alone in a room. I'm gonna have help. So next up we got Don Quixote by Miguel Cervantes. Again, one of the just Western classic, one of the very first like modern novels. Weird, funny adventure story. It's not entirely serious, but it is, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm finally gonna read Don Quixote. I mean, I'm 32 years old. What's taken me so long? This is the next one. Then after that, we got Ulysses by James Joyce. I've read A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man by him, and that was, not difficult. But it was, it wasn't an easy read. It's not something that you can read in just like a couple hours. And basically his work just gets more complicated as it goes along. This is like middle ground between Portrait of the Artist and Finnegan's Wake, which is like Hegel on steroids. So I'm going to start with Ulysses. Then I got Middlemarch by George Eliot, real name Mary Evans, and she was one of the smartest people I've ever heard of, and she's just brilliant. So I'm really looking forward to Middlemarch. And apparently, she lived in the 19th century, a little bit after Hegel, and apparently she translated Hegel's Phenomenology of Spirit from the original German into English. And she wrote Middlemarch, which is like an enduring classic of Western literature. Smart lady, and I'm really looking forward to this one. Then after that, I've got Henry James, Portrait of a Lady. I think it was a couple of years ago that I finished The Ambassadors by Henry James. Again, it's a difficult novel. It's not easy to read, and James purposefully obfuscates his meaning. And he basically makes his sentences just way more complicated than they have to be, and that was sort of like a development across his career. So his earlier books are not that difficult to understand, but then once you get into The Ambassadors, which came out in 1908, I think, it's just super hard. And actually, I just finished The Turn of the Screw as well by him, and I absolutely loved that book. It's amazing, and it's a ghost story, and it's only 144 pages or something, but at the very end, so he's got a sentence that goes on forever. Well, forever, it's 5 or 6 lines, but it's half the page, and what he does at the end, the last sentence, the last word of the last sentence in the whole book, it delivers such a shock, and it just brings the whole story around, and just the climax of the entire book in the very last word. And how he does that, and he sort of sets you up throughout that whole sentence, was just really cool. So I loved Turn of the Screw, and so A Portrait of a Lady is going to be up next. And then for the last 3, I'm not going to spend a whole bunch more time running through background of these books, but Henry James had a brother, even more famous than he was, William James, and so I'm reading The Varieties of Religious Experience, again, in a week. How long is this one? 450 pages. Okay, that's not bad, but it's one of my mother's favorite books, and she's been asking me to read it for years, and I'm finally going to. And I love William James. I've read a bunch of stuff by him before, but this is his main thing, and I'm finally going to read it. And I've got a much more ancient book, Histories by Herodotus. So this was from around the time that the Tao Te Ching was written, so 2,500 years ago, which is pretty insane. But again, this is just a classic that I've never read, so I'm finally going to get to it in the year of the insane reading challenges. And then the last book of March, I've got another one that I want to read all of these yesterday, but we got The Arabian Nights. This is thousands of years old, one of the very earliest books, and just an absolute classic. And I can't wait to read it. But that will be the next 12 weeks of my one and only life, and I'll be inside, awake for most of that time, but I'm looking forward to it. It's challenges and just big exciting visions make life worth living. And so if you're not trying to do something really cool and epic, then I believe that you're missing out in a very real sense. You don't have to achieve something, you don't even have to win or accomplish it, but you have to sort of try. You have to try, and it's the trying the effort, the attempt that makes it all worthwhile. And everybody says, or people say that, but once you actually do it, once you actually attempt something big and difficult and daunting, you really start to understand the truth of that statement of just how cool it is to have this big, exciting thing that you're going for, and then to just put everything that you have into it. And so that's what I'm doing with this reading challenge. And I mentioned that I'm going to cheat, and I will. Here's how. Just really briefly, I don't want to make this video longer than it has to be, but I've started several books already. Like I always have several books on the go, and so I'm almost finished. For example, Dracula. I've got like 70 pages left in that one. I finished most of it in 2022, but I'll finish the last few pages and claim that I finished it in 2023. Same as the audiobook version of Never Finished, David Goggins' new book. That's absolute. It's really, really worth listening to, by the way. And but again, I've got like 2 hours left in the audiobook of like 10 hours. Some people think that audiobooks are cheating regardless, and I'm not friends with those people. But I will say that I listen to audiobooks on like 1.5 speed or 2x speed, because the original speed that these audiobook narrators go at, they have to slow things down for it to make sense for everybody. But if you're just like listening to like a normal human, you can put it at like 1.3x or 1.5x speed, and depending on the material, you can even bump it up to 2x and still not miss much of the meaning. So with that, I will retire to do some reading, a lot of reading, so much reading. But if you love books and reading and achieving things, I've got two things for you. One is called The Stairway to Wisdom, where I take the best books that I read and I write complete, like detailed book breakdowns, and sometimes like 10,000 plus words. And a lot of them are available for free. You can check those out down in the description. And then my Substack publication for high achievers and winners. It's called The Competitive Advantage. I basically share everything that I've learned about how to do big things. But if you have any sort of reading challenge of your own, or any challenge, basically, what you're going to need above all is extreme levels of focus. So if you want to build extreme levels of focus, you need to watch this video right here. And I'll see you right back here next time for more books. Happy reading.
To do something great, sacrifice is a part of it. It's just the start of it. You can't start and quit. You have to harness this, cause energy is bliss. And when I swing, I miss, but then I swing and hit. So I'ma swing again and